Thanks, Mark, and welcome to everyone to the AGM. As Michael said, Jeff Clute, our acting CEO, is currently in New Hampshire looking at the pole, I think the way they say it. So he's watching all the leaves fall off the trees. He could have waited and gone to Bright, but he wanted to go further. I'll present just a brief summary of his report. The full report is available on the tables, and if anyone wants one to take home to read tonight, give me a yell. We've got a couple of extra copies there too. It's extremely common these days when presenting an annual report to talk about headwinds. But it's fair to say that Neighbourhood Watch Victoria started 2015-16 heading into a gale, not just a headwind. The state government funding, which had been about $170,000 annually over the previous 3 and a bit years, had come to an end, and despite a considerable effort from the board, there seemed little prospect of any further government funding. With the uncertainty of funding, it wasn't surprising that our CEO needed to find other employment, and we lost Jill just before the AGM last year. At that AGM, we've already mentioned the generosity of Paul Wilton and the budget rent-a-cars, so I'll try to not forget those, Paul, but gloss over the things that Michael has said. But at the AGM, Helen Worcester from Mildura was elected to the board, along with the return of Rhonda Rotherham, Raph Evan Chain and Jeff Clute. And I was subsequently co-opted to the board to assist in sharing the workload with the loss of our full-time CEO. We continued the work of rebuilding and consolidating the Neighbourhood Watch operations, and a lot of effort has been put into documenting our processes and procedures to ensure that these are available statewide and can be carried out throughout the state. There was an increase in community interest towards the end of the year, especially in the starting Neighbourhood Watch groups, as Michael said, in the developing housing estates on the fringe of Melbourne. The board concluded quite correctly that Neighbourhood Watch could not continue to operate in a cohesive, efficient manner throughout Victoria without a central office, and then turned our attention to improving the funding situation, and it seems to have dominated all our board meetings throughout the year. Michael has mentioned some of those, and we've talked with fundraising consultants, we've talked with lots and lots of corporates, but it is a difficult job, as Michael said, to get money for administration. And with groups throughout the state, we need to have a central administration to keep things on an even keel. At the December State Forum, following intense negotiations led by our President, Michael Strong, the then Minister for Justice, the Honourable Wade Noonan, announced a 3-year grant for Neighbourhood Watch of $50,000 annually. The grant, which came with an associated business plan and designated performance measures, didn't solve our funding problem, but it certainly was a step in the right direction. And as 2016 started up, we got stuck into implementing that business plan and achieving the performance measures to ensure that the funding would continue. The Neighbourhood Watch website has been improved to make it easier to load and more logical for visitors to negotiate. Program implementation guides for 2 of the Neighbourhood Watch programs, Safety for Seniors and Reducing Residential Burglaries, have been prepared, and after review by the Safer Communities Unit have been loaded onto the website so that groups throughout the state can look at the way of running these programs. Another major achievement as part of the business plan has been the production or reintroduction of the Neighbourhood Watch training manual, which is now also on the website. And it provides a wealth of information on how to set up and run a Neighbourhood Watch group. Meanwhile, the local Neighbourhood Watch groups were continuing with their traditional crime prevention activities, And we reinforced with them that the primary function of Neighbourhood Watch is to support the crime reduction programs of the police. So it's important for Neighbourhood Watch groups to work with the police on the local problems and work on what the police see as the local priorities. Towards the end of the financial year, in an unprecedented period of gang crime and home invasions, the nature of Neighbourhood Watch was rapidly changing. A number of community anti-crime groups have been established on social media, some of which are even calling themselves Neighbourhood Watch, but there are no accredited Neighbourhood Watch members involved. More importantly, there seems to be a tendency to share information about suspicious activity within a group without telling the police. And the most important message that we have there, as the police have said to us, it is hard for them to deal with criminal behaviour if they aren't advised of us. So if you take something home tonight, it's no good just talking to your neighbours about what's happening. If something is happening, ring 000 so that the police can do something about it. At the time of writing this report, that issue of accreditation and police checks hadn't been resolved. As Michael said, we have issued a new membership policy and it includes national crime checks where appropriate, and that is once again available on the website in the training manual, and it's all there for you to have a look at. I'll just close because it's time for main course. Close with Jeff's words of thanks. I don't want to summarise this, so I'll just say what he said. I must acknowledge the tremendous help that I've received from Fleur Hooper, who is the designated Project Administration Manager, is essentially the face of Neighbourhood Watch Victoria to the public. I've lost count of the number of times that her follow-up system has saved me because I had overlooked something important. And I must say that the same thing has happened with me sitting in Jeff's chair whilst we've been organising the AGM. I get a call and Fleur will say, don't forget we've got to do this, or I've done that. She's got it all organised. And I also thank Deborah Shakespeare, who joined us as a part-time assistant in April. And Deborah's been doing a lot of the work on the website. My thanks to my colleagues on the Neighbourhood Watch Victoria board for their help, support and encouragement, which has made the task less daunting. I must particularly mention our President Michael Strong, who's provided me with an incredible amount of help, advice and encouragement. Somewhere amongst his tremendous workload, he finds time to commit to helping Neighbourhood Watch, and specifically helping me, that's Jeff, in his role. Thanks also to the staff associated with the Police Safer Communities Unit, Superintendent Dave Cowan, Inspector Zorka Dunstan, and Kelsey Sully, and also Inspector Chris Large of the Priorities Communities Division. Their support and enthusiasm for Neighbourhood Watch is gratefully acknowledged. Now, since this report, Kelsey has moved to another unit, and we have Stacey Layden has joined us for her first AGM, and welcome to the fold, Stacey. And finally, thanks to the nearly 7,000 Neighbourhood Watch volunteers and their local police colleagues scattered across the state who are working together to reduce crime and make Victoria a safer place to live and work. Ultimately, it is your efforts that make Neighbourhood Watch such an important part of our community. Thank you.